Have you ever stared at the back of a cereal box, reading the ingredients list, and felt your brain slowly turn into alphabet soup? You see things like pyridoxine hydrochloride and just sort of nod, assuming it's a vitamin and not, the password to a secret robot society. But it's the friendly-sounding stuff that's really hiding the weirdness. Today we're looking at some creepy ingredients legally hidden in your food. Let's get right into it. Number 8 is the vague mystery of natural flavors. Natural flavors. Two words that feel like a warm, organic hug on an ingredients list. It sits there between sugar and salt, and you think, great, nature. I love nature. Apples are nature. This must be fine. But here's the thing, the word natural here is doing more heavy lifting than a power lifter in a piano store. The legal definition is looser than a wizard's sleeve. According to the FDA, a natural flavor is anything extracted or derived from a plant or animal. That's it. It's the origin story that matters, not the final product. Think of it this way. A single note played on a violin is natural. But a producer can take that single note, stretch it, loop it, add 100 other synthesized effects, and turn it into a 3-minute dubstep track that would scare a cat. That final track is still technically derived from that violin note. That's natural flavor. A flavor chemist, who is basically a food artist with a PhD, can take a single molecule from a raspberry and then, in a lab, combine it with up to 100 other incidental additives. Solvents, emulsifiers, preservatives, to create a hyperrealistic raspberry taste that can survive being baked into a muffin at 400 degrees. The original source was a plant, so voila, natural. This umbrella term is the food industry's ultimate, don't worry about it. It's the reason your vanilla-flavored yogurt might get its signature note from a place we'll discuss a little later in this countdown. It's a perfectly legal magic trick that keeps the real, often bizarre, sources tucked away behind a comforting little phrase. So, natural flavor is less about a stroll through an orchard and more about a chemist's incredibly convincing impression of one. Number 7, we have a spoonful of sand. Remember being 5 years old at the beach, your mom swatting your hand away and telling you, for the love of all that is holy, not to eat the sand? Well, congratulations. You're an adult now, which means you get to pay taxes, pretend to know what escrow is, and regularly, intentionally, eat sand. Or at least, its refined cousin. It's called silicon dioxide, and it's the same basic chemical compound that makes up quartz crystals and, yes, sand. You'll find it listed on the ingredients of things like powdered coffee creamer, instant soup packets, and grated cheese. Its official job title is anti-caking agent. Basically, silicon dioxide is a microscopic moisture sponge. Food-grade silicon dioxide is manufactured to be extremely porous, so it soaks up any water vapor that gets into the container. Without it, the tiny particles in your spice mix or soup powder would start clinging to each other for dear life, eventually forming a solid, unshakable brick of chickenish flavored dust. It's the silent guardian that ensures your garlic powder actually sprinkles instead of just plopping out in one sad, solid lump. And before you start panicking, it's generally recognized as safe by food authorities worldwide. Your body doesn't absorb it. It just passes right through your digestive system, an indifferent tourist on a whirlwind tour of your intestines. Still, it's a bit jarring to realize that the secret to keeping your grated Parmesan from clumping is the same stuff you spent an entire afternoon trying to wash out of your hair after a day at the beach. It's the unsung hero that keeps your spices powdery and your childhood beach diet technically ongoing. Number 6 is fish bladders in your beer. Picture this, you're at a pub, you've ordered a pint of your favorite ale. The bartender hands you a glass of perfectly clear, golden liquid. It's crisp, it's refreshing, and its beautiful clarity is brought to you by the dried swim bladder of a fish. Cheers! This wonderful substance is called isinglass, and it's been used for centuries in the brewing and winemaking industries as a fining agent. A fining agent is something that helps clarify a liquid, and isinglass is exceptionally good at it. It's essentially pure collagen, harvested from the bladders of fish like sturgeon. Here's how it works. When beer is fermenting, It's full of floating yeast particles and proteins that make it cloudy. Brewers drop a small amount of isinglass into the vat. The collagen in the isinglass has a positive charge, while the yeast particles have a negative charge. Opposites attract, and the isinglass particles begin to form a sort of microscopic net, collecting all the hazy yeast floaties. This net becomes heavy and slowly sinks to the bottom of the tank, dragging all the cloudiness with it. The clear beer is then siphoned off the top, leaving the sediment and most of the isinglass behind. While only trace amounts might make it into the final pint, the process itself is enough to make many beers and wines not suitable for vegetarians or vegans. It's an old-school, slightly medieval-sounding technique that just happens to work incredibly well. So next time you admire a brilliantly clear beer, just remember to thank the humble fish bladder for taking one for the team, ensuring your drink isn't the consistency of pond water. Number 5 is the unsettling secret of cheese. Cheese is a masterpiece. It's the sophisticated star of a dinner party, the comforting gooey heart of a grilled cheese sandwich, and proof that letting milk go bad was one of humanity's best ideas. The process seems so rustic and pure, right? Rolling green hills, happy cows, a farmer in overalls, and the stomach lining of a newborn calf. Wait, what? Yes, to make most of the world's most beloved cheeses, you need an ingredient called rennet. Rennet is a cocktail of enzymes, and the most important one is chymosin, whose entire job is to curdle milk. It's the agent that forces the milk to separate into solid curds and liquid whey, the very first, non-negotiable step in cheesemaking. And where does one find this magical enzyme? Traditionally, it's harvested from the fourth stomach chamber of a young, milk-dependent mammal, usually a calf, but sometimes a lamb or kid goat. The reason it has to be a young animal is that the chymosin is most potent while they are still nursing, as it's designed to help them digest their mother's milk. While today there are vegetarian-friendly alternatives made from fungi or genetically modified bacteria, traditional animal rennet is still the gold standard for many heritage cheeses. In fact, to be called Parmigiano Reggiano, the cheese legally must be made using calf rennet. So that fancy, expensive wedge of Parmesan you're grating over your pasta owes its entire existence to an enzyme scraped from a baby cow's tummy. It's a bit of ancient food science that is brutally efficient, if not exactly dinner table conversation. It just goes to show that your sophisticated cheese board is the direct result of a baby cow's highly specialized digestive system. Bon appetit! Number 4, that pretty red color? It's bugs we eat with our eyes first. A bright red candy is cherry. A vibrant red yogurt is strawberry. A deep red juice is a whole bunch of tiny, crushed-up insects. Meet the cochineal, a small, unassuming scale insect that spends its life chilling out on prickly pear cacti in South and Central America. For its own protection, it produces a chemical called carminic acid, which is an incredibly potent, crimson-red deterrent to predators. Unfortunately for the cochineal, it's not a deterrent to humans. For us, it's a feature, not a bug. Well, technically it is a bug. For centuries, going all the way back to the Aztecs, people have been harvesting these insects, drying them, and crushing them by the thousands to produce a brilliant red dye known as carmine. Today, it's used as a natural food, coloring in everything from strawberry yogurt and fruit juices to ice cream and candy. It's listed on ingredient labels as cochineal extract, carmine, or natural red 4. And it is, by all accounts, perfectly safe. It's a fantastic natural alternative to petroleum-based dyes like Red 40, which some people prefer to avoid. But there's a psychological hurdle you have to clear. Knowing that the lovely pink hue of your raspberry sorbet comes from a vat of powdered bug bodies can be a little distracting. It takes about 70,000 individual insects to produce just 1 pound of dye, which is a staggering amount of tiny lives sacrificed for the sake of aesthetics. It gives a whole new meaning to the phrase bugging out, except in this case, you're just bugging in to your dessert. Number 3 is the hair in your dough. There is a universal gut-wrenching moment that can ruin any meal, finding a hair in your food. It's an immediate appetite killer. But what if I told you that hair, or at least, a key component of it, is sometimes put into your food on purpose. Let me introduce you to L-cysteine. It's an amino acid, a building block of protein, and it is found in abundance in keratin, which is the stuff that makes up hair, horns, and feathers. In the world of industrial baking, L-cysteine is a miracle worker. It's used as a dough conditioner, which means it helps break down the gluten proteins in flour. This makes the dough less elastic and much easier to handle for machines, speeding up production time significantly. It's the secret to those impossibly soft, uniform burger buns and packaged breads. So where do they get this L-cysteine? Well, it can be synthesized in a lab, but that's expensive. A much cheaper and historically common method is to extract it from natural sources rich in keratin. The most popular sources are duck feathers and, you guessed it, human hair. The hair is often swept up from the floors of barbershops and salons, then boiled in hydrochloric acid to isolate the amino acid. While many food manufacturers in the West have shifted away from the human hair source due to the obvious ick factor, it's not universally banned, and feather-derived L-cysteine is still common. It's another one of those clever little tricks, kind of like the anti-caking sand from earlier, designed to make mass-produced food consistent and cheap. So while you probably aren't chewing on actual hair strands, your fluffy, perfect bagel might have a closer connection to a barbershop floor than you're entirely comfortable with. Number 2 is the Beaver's glandular contribution. Okay, remember way back at the beginning when we talked about the mysterious world of natural flavors and how that term could be a hiding spot for some truly bizarre sources? Well, allow me to introduce you to the poster child for that entire concept, castoreum. This is a chemical compound that comes from a beaver's castor sacs, which are glands located, to put it delicately, in the animal's nether regions, right next to the ones it uses for scent marking its territory. Beavers combine this thick, gooey secretion with urine to create a pungent mix that basically screams, "This mud pile is mine." And now for the plot twist that makes you question reality. Because of a beaver's diet of tree bark and leaves, castoreum doesn't smell like you'd expect. It has a surprisingly pleasant, musky, vanilla-like aroma. Humans discovered this centuries ago and have used it as a base for perfumes and, yes, as a food additive. The FDA considers it a safe, natural flavoring, and it has been used to enhance vanilla, strawberry, and raspberry flavors in things like ice cream and candy. Now, before you swear off vanilla for the rest of your life, you should know that its use in food today is incredibly rare. The process of anesthetizing a beaver to milk its glands is difficult, invasive, and extremely expensive. Food scientists have since created synthetic vanillin, which is vastly cheaper and easier to produce. But the fact remains that it is still legally approved for consumption. It's the ultimate loophole in the Natural Flavor Handbook. So, while you're almost certainly not eating beaver goo in your yogurt, it's comforting to know the option is, and always will be, legally on the table. And at number 1, we have your candy's shiny bug glaze. You tear open a bag of jelly beans or candy-coated chocolates. You pour a handful into your palm and admire that beautiful, glossy sheen. That hard, protective, and appetizingly shiny candy shell is a marvel of food engineering. What is that magical coating? A special kind of sugar? An edible wax? No, it's shellac. And shellac is the resinous secretion of an insect. Specifically, the female lac bug, which is native to the forests of India and Thailand. To protect her eggs from the elements, she creates a hard, waxy, waterproof tunnel-like tube on the branches of trees. This raw material, called sticklac, is harvested by scraping millions of these bug cocoons off the tree branches. The gunk is then crushed, washed, and heated to remove impurities like bark and bug parts, resulting in the refined, flaky substance we know as shellac. You are probably most familiar with it as a wood varnish. It's what gives antique furniture that warm, amber glow. But in a highly purified form, it's also known as confectioner's glaze. It's sprayed on everything from jelly beans and sprinkles to coated nuts and coffee beans to give them that signature shine, and to prevent them from sticking together in the bag. It even serves as the waxy coating on grocery store apples to make them look more appealing and last longer. It's odorless, tasteless, and perfectly edible. It's also the reason your vitamins and pills are so shiny and easy to swallow. That's a pharmaceutical glaze doing its job. It's the ultimate multitasker, equally at home on a 19th century armoire and a 21st century gummy bear. So the very same substance that protects an antique chair is what gives your favorite candy its irresistible sparkle. It's proof that one bug's home is another person's dessert topping. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.